Hello everyone, we are continuing our series of SQL 50. So the next question in our SQL 15 series, friend request second who has most friends. So as usual, we are reading the problem statement, breaking the problem statement into small pieces, and from that problem statement we are building queries, small queries definitely, and that small queries will help us to build the solution for this problem. As usual, we follow the same path in all problems we solve. So reading the problem statement is one of the important part of the solving the problem. So let's start with reading the problem and let's solve this question. Okay, so as you can see on screen, the problem label as medium, Leetcode medium. So request accepted is a table given to us. Okay, and the table has three columns: request id, accept id, and accepted. Both first two columns are integer and the date column is type date. So write a solution to find the people who has the most friends and most friends number. So row first row is clearly define all the crux of the problem. They are saying is that find the id who has most number of friends. That is the crux of this first line of the statement. Let's read the second line. The test cases are generated so that the only one person has most friends. So okay, it is really important. This line is really important, so it's really help us to while writing a logic. Okay, the result format is the following example. So I copy this table here, as you can see on screen. I copied it here. So let's start with understanding the problem columns and column values, then we get further. Okay, so as you can see on screen, requester id and acceptor id having two columns, and accepted also the third column in the request accepted column table. So request here, id number 1 is our requester id, 2 acceptor id 2. That means id number 1 is requested to be a friend, or to be a friend to id number 2. Same as id number 1 is request to id number 3 as for a friend, and same for 2 is requested to id number 3 for the friend request, and the same for the 3. Okay, so as you analyze that, as you can see on screen, so let's start with the dry run, and then we will get most of the idea what the problem statement are stating. So let's dry run it. Okay, as you can see here, we are this is the request accepted table, request accepted request accepted table below. Okay, so they are saying, so how we calculate the who has the most friends. So request id is 1, request id 1 requested to id number 2. The same request id 1 is requested to id number 3 and get accepted, and request id number 2 is request to id number 3 for accept, and request id 2 get accepted id number 3, and id number 3 request to id number 4 to get accepted. So that is accepted. So one made two requests to id number 2 and id number 3 and get accepted. So id number 1 has two friends here. Okay, and so id number 2 has made one request to id number 3 and get accepted. That means id number 2 also has one friend. So I will here id number here id number 1 has two friends, 2 and 3. id number 2 has 3, only one friend here. id number 2 has 1, and id number 3 also has one friend here. So it will be id number 3 and one friend. Okay, but that's not, but we calculated from this column. But what about this column? Because as you can see on screen, how to increase our friends. That means when it's two way. Okay, how to increase our friends, someone someone like this, someone send us friend request, okay, then our friend count get increase, okay. That's one way of increasing friend. Another way, that's first way. And second way of increasing friends, we send friend request to our friends or future friends. So that are two ways to increase our friends, okay. So as you can see here, the request ID column R comes under first category, okay. R comes under first category, and also the second, this category first, how to increase friends, and how to increase friends category second. So people comes under, the IDs comes under someone send us a friend request, then our friend count get increased. So these are the people comes under category 1. And category 2, we send friend request to our friends or future friends. So that's how that's the another way of increasing our friend count. So the request ID column comes under category 2. So these people send request to friends to increase their count, and these request ID comes under category 1, who they don't need to send a request and get the friend count increase. So these are these two categories. So what we do in this case, so as you can see on screen, as here, request ID 3 is also acceptor ID here. So sender is also acceptor in accepted ID. So we also said that, so ID number 1 has 2 friends, as you can see from the column of request ID, but accepted ID also has 2. That means he also has 1 friend, and here and there. So what we want here, so we will do one thing, right? So I will set ID, and I will merge these two together. Request ID and accept ID I will merge together. What we will get, I will do union all, because I want duplicates also. So I will do select star, so let be do it like requester ID as, I will do as ID, and from I will use like request accepted, okay. I will do union. Why I'm using union? Because I want to all the values, that all the IDs inside my new table, okay. I will do union all. I will select I will use accepted ID as ID here, and from I will do request accepted, okay. So what, and I will be converting this into CTE. So with, I will use with CTE1, I will use as. So what will I get in the output? I will get 1 1. This is the ID column, 1 1 2 2, then 3 3 3 and 4. So now I will get this into the new. I will, if I do select select star from CTE1, I will get this result in the output. So now I just want to do one thing here. I will do aggregation on the basis of ID, group by on the basis of ID, and then I will use count. So I know how many friends each ID has. Okay, have. So I will do ID here. I will do count here. So I will use one has 2 friends because total 2 here. ID number 2, so 2 has 2, 3 has 3, 4 has only occur only once, so it is 1. So now I will be they are saying also the test case are generated so that only one person has the most friends. So I will do here I will use like order by. Okay, so we get this output here. So I will write again here ID 1 and count star as I will say num. Okay, and 1 I will 2 has 2 friends, 3 has 3, and 4 has 1. Okay, then what will I do? I use aggregation on this table. Okay, so I will say set select. So name it, call this table, called it process table. This table is process. So select select what we use. We require ID here, we require num here. Okay, and say from process group by ID. Okay, so count star as, okay, group by ID, and order by num in descending order, DESC, in descending order. And also we calculate limit because we want only 1, so limit 1. That's our final answer to finding the ID, which ID has or which person has most friends. So this is the way of finding the things. So let's go to the editor and let's try to do things. So let's replicate what we did on paper. Let's try to replicate on an editor same. What we understand on paper is that a requested ID and accepted ID we want to merge together, and so now we are merging it. Select, where we use requester ID as I will use num as ID, because having same column name while we are using union or union, there is a requirement for that. If we not aware of the same column name, it will result in a error. So that's why I am using the ID as alias for the requester ID, because I want to same column name. So select, I will do select here, select acceptor ID as ID, and from request accepted. Okay, so I will convert this into the with, I will name it CT1, with CTE1 I will name it as. So let's try to run it, what we get here. So select star from CTE1. Let's see. Nice. So we get the error here. So yes, we need to write union all because we want to keep the duplicates from the both columns. Requester ID. What is requester ID? Requester ID, that's correct or not? This is okay. So I think so. This will work. Yeah. We get the output as you can see on screen here. We get the output we require. Okay. Now what we want to get aggregation on the basis of ID, and we count how many friends each ID has. Okay. So I will use select here, and I will use ID. I will use ID, and I will use like count here, and star, and as I will use like ID will make enough. and I will use like num. Okay, so I will use from here, I will use like cte1. Okay, cte1, and then I will use group by id, and order by count id as descending order, and limit I will set 1, because I want only first row from the column after the sorting done. So that's where we will get the the person id with maximum number of friends from the table. So let's try to execute it. Okay, we get some kind of error, but okay, so use num here instead of this. Okay, why we are getting order by group by id, check manual corresponding limit. Okay, let's do it here. Okay, hang on, here is the wrong thing, so limit 1. Let's try to execute it. Yes, we passed 2 test cases. Now let's try to submit it. Yeah, we successfully submit the question, as you can see on screen. So this is our SQL 15 series, and we are continuing solving question. So this is a friend request second who has most friends, so we will solve it successfully, and as you can see on screen, this is the answer for that. So keep reading the problem statement. So what we learn in this, read the problem statement really clear, really multiple times, so you get the core idea of the problem, and then understand the columns. Okay, then read the column values properly, and also get the help from the what the output they want, what kind of output they want. Okay, and what kind of input they given to us. Those statement, the 3 things are important here. Problem statement, really important. Input table, reading input table, reading values, and third one, the output they want from us. Reading all those things clearly, it is help us to solve 80% of problem most of the time. So read problem properly, understand input table, understand the values, understand the